Okay, so we're going to be talking about physical symptoms, and pain is the most predominant, but certainly not the only. So we're going to be talking about how to work with physical symptoms, and like Alina said, the first question you're always going to ask is, have you seen a doctor for this? I like that phrase because that doesn't imply whether it was a medical doctor, a naturopath, your doctor of Oriental medicine, your doctor of chiropractic. It's not your decision making as a coach to determine what their best choice of care is. And certainly there are qualified professionals that are not doctors, but I think it's the best generic segue that I've been able to just ask that without offending and being appropriate to as many people as possible for, have you had this checked out? And you'll start to get the information about what that means. It's like, yes, I consulted my astrologist. Okay, that has one thing as far as what that means for them, or yes, are you kidding? I've seen like 13 specialists. I've been to, my MD and the orthopedist and this. So you want to always make sure that they've looked into this, and if they haven't, that is going to affect a little bit about how you work with it, right, and how you work with them. So for first, cover your own professional well-being, and second, really, and even foremost, is making sure that they do get a good look through, because there are times that sometimes we're thinking it's emotional, and you know what, there's real physical causality. Not saying that there's not emotional contributing factors to the physical causality, but if they need to get to an oncologist while they're also doing their self-work, we want to support that, right? So first question is always, have you seen a doctor for this? You'll get that information, and then you will work accordingly with that. As a chiropractor, I work with a lot of people that are coming to me for physical pain, obviously, neck pain, back pain, shoulder, headaches, knee, whatever. So when I work with them that way, and this helps some of the broaching of different professions that might ask this, is how do I work with that? Well, first and foremost, they're not coming to me for EFT most of the time, right? A majority of the time through my chiropractic hat. So I'm going to work with them and broach the subject a little differently than somebody coming to me for an emotional work with their symptom, right? So those are two different ways I work with it. I'll use that segue because when people come from here, there's a first level of working with symptoms, and that's often the segue that I'll use for those people that are coming to me for physical relief, and I'm not going to jump into what traumatic events have you had and what emotional traumas have you been through, and they're like, I came to you because my back hurts. What are you talking about? Right? Now, that being said, it's absolutely impossible for me not to be wearing simultaneous hats in my listening. Right? So, I was using an example of somebody that came in the other day for a TMJ jaw pain, and it's something she had years ago, and now it was back, and as we asked a little bit in the history, it's like, yes, and her husband passed 3 to 4 months ago, and she already understands that there's an emotional connection, all that. That's one discussion that's easy to then move toward EFT towards. But somebody else that just comes in that said, I slept wrong, and my back went out, they're not, or they slipped and fell, they're not coming to me to ask for emotional contributing aspects of that. But in their history, I might have also just heard that they lost their job last week, and their wife left them, and all the other things that I'm thinking, hello, okay, they're not necessarily putting it together yet. So the reason I say that is the first level, and I will say the least effective method of working with physical symptoms is a way where we focus just on the symptoms and not on the emotional factors, right? So first thing we're going to ask about, okay, that's just objectives. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at when somebody comes to me and I'm going to work with them just on the physical symptoms, the first level of working with symptoms. Now, if I have my EFT hat on, I may say this is the least effective way to work with it, right? Or if I send them home, or if they've seen things on YouTube, etc. So me just focusing just on, even though I have this shoulder pain, I deeply and completely accept myself. Right? Now, when we do that, that's not saying, how many people have tapped along or done something on a physical symptom like that and have found some relief? My knee hurts, my back hurts, and I accept myself anyway. And because I'm tapping, I'm tuning in, I'm neuroregulating through that. I would say if somebody comes in and I just want to open the door and I do that, I will generally get a 20 to 30% reduction in 1 to 2 rounds. Now that's pretty amazing right there, and that's usually a great segue to go deeper, because how many things can I give them to do in a minute and a half or 3 minutes that's going to reduce their pain by 30%? So usually that's a great segue to then go deeper. It's like, whoa, that's weird. Yeah, it was like a 7, that was like a 4. What'd you just do? What was that, right? So that'll often open the door for us to go deeper. But we're going to just start off in working with the symptoms, with how to work with physical symptoms, just with the symptoms. So one of the things that we've been saying continually throughout is whatever we're working on, we need to be what? Specific, right? So when we're working on a physical symptom, we want to be specific. So what does that mean in being specific? Well, name a symptom. Shoulder pain, okay. So I've got this shoulder pain. What side is it? Right side. How can I get more specific?
Sharp.
Sharp. Give it some descriptors or quality of it. It's sharp, it's kind of burny, it's numb, it's dull, it's ache, it's pulsing, it's, right? So those are some qualities of it. What else can get more specific?
Intensity, like 0 to 10.
Yes, so we're going to give it an intensity.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely, 0 to 10. What else?
What makes it better?
Okay, what kind of things affect it? What make it better or worse? It hurts when I reach up to a shelf. It hurts when I drive to work. It hurts when I, shampoo my, whatever it is. That's more.
Duration? Location? Duration.
Location, specific location. My shoulder. What do you mean by shoulder? Oh, back here. Oh, okay. My scapula. And everybody's going to have their own words for that, right? It's my wing bone area, it's my scapula, oh, it's my it's my AC joint right underneath in the subclavius, right, and there are massage therapists that knows that, right? So you go with whatever what do you call that, right? Good. So we've got, where is it? Maybe what's the size of it? Oh, it's like the size of a pinhead. No, it's like the size of like a, the butt of an end of a gun or something. Who knows what they're going to come up with? And their words are always really important, so never insert your words, because words that come out of them are golden. It might, for some people, they might have a color. Right? I don't tend to ask my engineers, does it have a particular color? But I've got more creatives, tend to be more female, and that's maybe my judgment, or I may throw out, can you tell me a little bit about it, the size? Is there a color to it? Is there a quality? Right? So I'll often throw out things and they'll grab what they'll grab. Oh my God, it's like this red hot burning pain that's like right here. And so we're getting all that information. So good. So just like we're looking at what does it feel like? Where is it? Location. When and where is it triggered? And that's a really good one. So somebody said, what makes it better or what makes it worse? Is there a particular time of day that it comes on? Yes, when I drive to work. Okay, or when I'm coming home after work, or Monday morning first thing, or on the way to pick up the kids for my ex, or whatever that is. Those kinds of things can really give us a lot of insight. Okay, what kind of things trigger it? And often, especially as a chiropractor, it's my shoulder and my neck, and then it's kind of like this headachy thing, and I get my blurred vision when that comes on, and very often you'll have a host of symptoms that they may tie together. So I'm going to recommend that when you're working on a symptom and you're trying to be specific, you don't try to cover the shoulder and the neck and the headache and the tingling down the arm and all those things at once. I'd rather have a hierarchy of what's bothering you the most right now, what's got the highest priority. Again, being specific. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, so how do we work with that? Well, like anything else, with this one, well, let me change it a little bit. We're always going to be specific, because we always are, but in this situation, we're not tying it to an event, okay? We're going to work on the right here, right now. Okay, it's going to be the way that we're going to work on it. So in this moment, the right here, right now, what are you feeling? Right, I've got, and then you get all that information. So once you get all that information, enough to get going, you're going to come up with a setup statement. Okay, it's going to follow the same basic rules, even though I have this red, hot, burning shoulder pain that hurts when I reach up to get something off the top shelf, and it's worse in the first thing in the morning, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I have this red, hot, burning, sharp, size of a golf ball pain, I deeply and completely accept myself 3 times. Tapping points, red, hot, sharp, size of a golf ball, burning pain. So we're just focusing on the symptoms. We are not asking it, how does that make you feel? We're not asking the emotion. We did get a SUDS at the beginning. We do a round. It was a 7. Come down. Well, it's weird. It's like a 5. Okay. What do we do on a second round? We adjust. So we check. Is it still a 7? No, it's now a 5. Is it still like a red hot feeling? Yeah, it's still kind of red and hot. Is it the size of a golf ball? No, actually it's more like the size of a quarter now. Okay, is it still in the same location? Yeah. Does it still hurt when you do this? Yeah. Okay. And we make adjustments. Okay. Even though I have this red hot size of a quarter, 5 out of 10, pain in the front of my shoulder, I deeply and completely accept myself. Reminder phrases, red hot, size of a quarter, ... same thing down. Okay? What you'll tend to find is some reduction. I'm not going to say how much it should be. It'll be however much it is, right? When we work on that, it'll probably only drop so far. It'll rarely zero out. I'm not going to say never, but rarely. Okay? When we work just on a physical symptom without going to the emotions, this is how we're going to work with it for now. In level 2, we're going to go ahead and take it in a deeper direction, but for right now, we're going to stick just with that and know that it can actually be a great first aid tool as well. Right? So, you're on the soccer field, and so what we're going to do is you're working with a kid, and you're not in an appropriate place to be able to go deeper, etc. And you could just go ahead and do some physical symptom tapping right there as a first aid. So let's go ahead and let's do a round of. You want to just do?
Have everybody do it?
Yeah. So we're just going to have everybody do it on themselves. So for what everybody's feeling. So I want you to check in with your body. And I want you to see if there's a physical symptom that you have right now, just sitting there. And if you don't just sitting there, maybe you need to find it. Maybe it's like when you kind of reach back here, oh, it cramps up in the back of my shoulder. Or, again, rule number 1 in the workshop, take care of yourself, right? So don't do something that's going to do harm. But maybe it's subtler, like I notice, wow, it feels really limited or tight when I move this way. Or when I bring my shoulders back, it feels tight, like it feels restricted and I should be able to reach further. Or so see if you can find some tightness, restriction, constriction, pain, discomfort, again, taking care of yourself, and see if you can find that in your own body, even if you need to move around to find it. Can everybody find something that can at least show some measurable difference afterwards? Okay, all right. So I'm going to lead you. But what you're going to do is you're going to fill in the words for what it is for you. So I'm going to say something like, even though I have this, I'll be silent and everybody will fill in their own sensations of what you're feeling. Okay? Everybody ready? Okay. Even though I have this, fill the blank, I deeply and completely accept myself. Okay. Even though I have this, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I have this, I deeply and completely accept myself. Good. This. Good. This. 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 And I'm going to pause here because I didn't ask you to get a SUDS, which I should have. That was my first mistake, so see if you can sense what it was. Good. Let's continue. This. 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 Good. This. Good. Take a deep breath in. Out. Good. Nice yawning happening. And then go ahead and retest yourself. See what the SUDS was before and what it's changed to. And let's just.
Pain moves. Pain moves.
Yes, and that'll be another thing I'll ask in just a moment. So just notice first, let's just check the SUDS. Numbers for people, just popcorn out.
5 to 3.
5 to 3.
7 to 0.
2 to 0.
7 to 6.
8 to 6.
7 to 6. 8 to 6. 7 to 5.
The
Good.
same. The same.
The same, stayed the same. Okay, totally fine. All right, we're going to do another round. Okay, what I want you to notice right now is just if it changed a little bit, you can go ahead and make any modifications to what it did. If it's a size smaller, if it moved over a little bit, if it's a little bit of a different color. So adjust your setup and your reminder points accordingly.
What if it moved a lot?
If it moved a lot, then go ahead and follow where it went to. Okay. Even though I still have this remaining pain, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I still have some remaining, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I still have some of this remaining, I deeply and completely accept myself. Good. This remaining, 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 this remaining. All right, take a deep breath in and out. And do a check-in. Check-in on the SUD first. Popcorn numbers.
6 to 4 to 2.
6 to 4 to 2.
864.
864.
852.
852. Okay. So this really demonstrates very simply a way of working with physical symptoms that can have a pretty significant short-term effect. My caution is, do I think, and is it my experience, that those symptoms will stay at that lower number, and it's not. Does that serve a purpose to have some temporary relief? Of course it does. It's a great benefit. I didn't have to take an Advil, right? And all of a sudden I cut it down from an 8 to a 3. That's great. Can it help me get to sleep? Can it help me feel less pain? Can it have me take away some discomfort I'm having while I'm, in a movie theater or stuck in a meeting that I can't leave, and etc. So yeah, it serves a good purpose. But ultimately, you need to know that to really go deeper with it, you're going to have to get to the emotion. So the next level of working with a pain or a symptom is going to be to find any emotion that's associated with that symptom. Okay? So when we go ahead and we look at, for example, the first level of, let's say I have the shoulder pain, the first question that I'm going to ask somebody to take it the next level is, how does it make you feel having pain in the shoulder? For some person, it's like, pissed. I've been dealing with this shoulder pain for 20 years. I've gone to 14 orthopedists. I've been to chiropractors, massage therapists, and it's still there, and it just pisses me off that it's still there. Do we have something that we'd be able to start to work on that way? You bet. Especially with pain or symptoms for at least 3 to 6 months or so, you bet there are going to be emotions associated with it. Okay, it might be sad. I can't lift up my grandkid because it hurts so much. It might be, hopelessness. It is never going to get better. It just feels like no matter what I do, nothing else. So any number of a range of emotions can be associated with the physical symptom. So if somebody tells me they're angry about their shoulder, right? One way to work with that would be, the specific event would be when? Right here, right now. Right here, right now, I am so pissed off that, here I am working with you and I'm still dealing with this, so that would be one specific moment. What would be another way that we might be able to work with the anger associated with my shoulder?
When the injury happened.
Okay, so let's start to look at different questions. So when we start to explore the emotion about it, it might be when I do a certain activity. Okay, so this morning I went to lift up my kid and put him into the car seat, and it just killed me. And I'm just pissed thinking that it shouldn't hurt to do that. Okay, do we have a specific event? Good. Right now, thinking about putting your child in the car seat and your shoulder hurting, how does it make you feel? I'm angry at that. Okay, 0 to 10, where do you feel it in your body? Boom, go. Okay? When we start to look at the emotional factors associated with the symptom, Tammy, right on. What are other questions and insightful ways that we can start to look at the anger associated with my shoulder, or find out more information about this shoulder and what it might represent for me, would be starting to inquire into questions like, when did this shoulder pain start for you? I don't know, it's been there for years. Did you always have it? No, I don't know, maybe 5-10 years ago it started. Now some people have a very specific event. Yeah, I was working and I was lifting up something and I had this work injury, and they'll be able to tell you exactly when it happened. Other people won't, right? I don't know, I've had it for 5-10 years or so. When you start to think back, a really key question might be, what was going on in your life when that shoulder pain started, or maybe even up to a year before? I don't know, nothing was going on when I hurt my shoulder. I was just working that day, or I woke up with it. What was going on in your life? Let's see, that happened. Oh, yeah, that was like the year of the divorce, or that was the year we moved cross country, or that was the year of the bankruptcy, or like a few months before that. So people will have, and not make any association between their shoulder and the stressors that were going on in their life before. Okay? So in that rate, we're going down that line, we may put aside the shoulder pain for a moment and then start working on the event that immediately or shortly before preceded that, and the stresses associated with that. That may take me into a different emotion, that might take me into a specific something that wasn't specifically about the shoulder, but perhaps it led to that pre-existing stress that then led to the shoulder pain. So questions like, what was happening before? Well, we started off with, how does it make you feel? Asking about activities to help find events associated with it that may cause it to flare up, okay? Or things that make you feel better. So you're starting to get insight into the whys and what-fors of the physical symptom. So the next thing after really we look at the contributing factors to that is we start to look also for, and this is really profound in EFT, we start to look for the metaphors. Kind of the meaning, the more meta level. And these are words that will often come out incredibly, I want to say on a subconscious level, and it's almost like they use these words and they don't even hear them, but as an EFT practitioner, you're going to hear them like, did they really just say it felt like a stabbing pain in their back from their ex that was going through the divorce, and they didn't even hear it, but no, it's like a sharp knife-like pain right in my back. Or somebody comes in and they have a pain in their neck, right? A question might be, who or what's a pain in your neck? Oh my God. Yeah, God, the guy at work, just, I tell you, he fired me and there was no reason for it. Or what's a pain in your derriere? Or, so you start to, number one, you can ask questions that can kind of lead to a metaphor that's using their words. You don't want to add them, like who stabbed you in the back, unless they said it feels like I got stabbed in the back. And you may then say who or what feels like it may have contributed to feeling stabbed in the back. The words that come out of a client or person's mouth, they often don't hear, but you'll hear them immediately, and you want to be careful to ask open-ended questions so that they can make the associations rather than you overly point them. There's like a whole arena of medicine and kind of the psycho-emotional field called, that some good articles have been read on, metaphorical medicine. And within narrative medicine, where we really listen to the stories on a deeper level and we ask open-ended questions that really help them to reveal. But I'm also not one that jumps to the conclusion that because something hurts here, it means that for them. I'm not saying that we don't see commonalities and threads. And for example, how common is it, Alina, when a woman comes in and there's pelvic problems, that there's sexual issues underneath it and sexual abuse, etc. So they're really common ways in which different kinds of traumas do show up in the body, but I never make an assumption, right? Always asking the questions and always looking for what that relationship is for them. Okay, so open-ended questions that explore metaphor, that we listen for metaphor, that we're looking for that symbolism and connection, but ultimately we want them to be making the connection. Does that make sense? Any questions? Okay, so what we'll also tell people when when I work with somebody and then send them home for homework is going to be, what are the most effective ways for you to continue working on these issues? Again, sending them home with, the least effective way would be just working on the physical symptom alone in the body. Second is going to be, second and third is going to be working on the associated emotional factors looking for the metaphors, looking what it means for you, looking for the events associated with or correlated with, just as we were talking about. And then we'll then send them home with homework on, for example, making a list of what are the things that it hurts to do, when did it come on, and they start a whole nother level of inquiry into connections. And we'll come back, it's like, oh my God, I totally forgot this. But I gotta tell you this, when I was 6 years old, my older brother lifted up my shoulder. I totally forgot that, but you had me thinking about that, and now I have an event that I can start working on, and I like to work further with you because I realized it was a big deal, even bigger than I thought. So that's kind of that relationship of how we work with it. Then we'll go ahead and give them homework, and then there's some things they'll work and clear out themselves, and then they'll come back to us to work on that on a deeper level. And so that's kind of the dance that we do with physical symptoms as far as at this level, and then we'll go further later.